The Secret Garden, adapted for English language learners at Level A2 by Story Steps.
Chapter 5. The Crying in the Night. Mary had lived at the manor for 6 weeks and had changed greatly. Her face had colour from her time outside. She laughed more often. She ate all her food every day, hungry from working in the secret garden. One night, a sound pulled Mary from her sleep. It was a thin, high sound that cut through the darkness. Not the wind outside blowing across the moors, but something from inside the house, from somewhere within these walls. Mary sat up quickly and listened. The sound came from far away in the manor. She put on her dressing gown and took her candle from the table beside her bed, holding its small yellow light before her. She opened her door and stepped into the corridor. The sound grew louder from the right side of the house, past the locked doors. Mrs. Medlock had said clearly, "Never go down this corridor at night." Mary went anyway, driven by curiosity. The candle made shadows dance and flicker on the walls as Mary walked. The sound grew louder with each step, someone crying inside the house, crying in pain that Mary could not ignore. Mary passed door after door, all of them locked, until she came to one door with a thin line of light coming from under it. The door was not locked, unlike all the others. Mary opened it very slowly, carefully, ready to run if anyone shouted at her. The room was large and warm, with a fire burning low in the grate and heavy curtains covering the windows completely. A big bed stood against the far wall, and the room smelled of medicine and old flowers. In the bed was a boy. The boy lay against soft pillows, looking very small in the large bed. He had a very pale face, with dark shadows under his eyes from sleepless nights. His dark hair lay on the white pillow. Mary's candle lit the room brightly, and he stopped crying immediately. He stared at her with wide grey eyes that held surprise and fear. "Are you a ghost?" the boy asked, his voice very thin and quiet, almost a whisper. "No, are you?" Mary said, matching his quiet tone. Something changed in the boy's face, an expression shifting across it like clouds. Fear left his eyes, and he looked curious instead, more interested than afraid. "I do not think so," he said slowly, "but you are a stranger to me. I have never seen you before in my life." "I am Mary Lennox. I am Mr. Craven's niece. I arrived 6 weeks ago from India." The boy looked at his hands and held the edge of his blanket very tightly, as if it was the only thing holding him together. "I am Colin Craven. My father owns this house." Mary moved her candle closer to see the boy better in the flickering light. "Why did no one tell me about you?" she asked directly. "Why did no one tell me about you?" Colin replied, his voice becoming stronger. "I live in this house every day, but no one said a child was here." "Martha tried to tell me something," said Mary, slowly, choosing her words with care. "But she stopped. She said it was not her place to speak." "People do not talk about me much," Colin said quietly. "I think it makes them feel uncomfortable, as if my illness might touch them." "Why?" asked Mary, not understanding. Colin looked down at his blanket, his young face becoming serious beyond his years. His eyes were careful and held old pain. "I am ill. I have been ill since I was born. My back is weak, the doctors say, and I might develop a hump on my back as I grow. I might—" He stopped, unable to say the words. "I might not live to become a man." Mary sat down on a chair near the bed and looked at Colin without looking away, meeting his gaze steadily. "You do not look like you are dying," she said plainly. "If you were dying, you would look different." Something flashed in Colin's eyes, surprise, perhaps anger at her directness, but something like relief too, as if someone had finally told him the truth. "Everyone else says I might die," he said. "I am able to tell you only what I see. I see bright eyes and a strong voice. You were crying, and this shows feeling, but it is not the same as being ill or dying. Many people cry in the night. Colin was very quiet. He seemed to think about Mary's words, turning them over in his mind. I cry when I cannot sleep, he said at last. I lie awake, thinking about my back and the hump and dying. I cannot escape these thoughts. I am unable to stop them once they start. Do you think about these things all the time? Asked Mary, curious about his life. Most of the time. I am alone almost every day. There is nothing to distract me. Mary understood this completely, not the illness part, but the loneliness. She knew about being alone, about spending days with no one to talk to. Why do you stay in this room? She asked. Why do you not go outside? People look at me, said Colin. They seem to watch me closely, to see when I become more ill, as if they expect it. The air outside frightens me. I think it might make me sick, that the wind might damage my back. I went outside every day since I came here, said Mary. I was not healthy at first. Martha said I looked quite sick when I arrived. I feel completely different now, stronger. The air made me better, not worse. If the air was going to harm me, it would have by now. Colin looked at her with longing in his eyes, longing for a different kind of life. Do you really think so, that I might get better? Yes, it was true for me. The change happened without me expecting it. They looked at each other across the warm room in the candlelight. Two lonely children, two difficult children. Something was starting between them, a beginning of understanding and connection. Have you ever been in a garden? Asked Mary. A garden? Any garden? Any garden at all. There are gardens on the grounds. Have you ever walked in them? Not for many years. I was very small maybe, but I do not remember anything about them. There are gardens here, said Mary carefully, choosing her words with care, and one of them is particularly interesting, special. What do you mean? Colin asked eagerly, hope rising in his voice. Show me one you like. Just a garden I found. I go to it every day. Things are growing there. Mary stopped, studying his face. She was not ready to tell Colin about the secret garden yet. She did not know him well enough to trust him with her precious discovery. Colin watched Mary's face very closely, with sharp eyes that missed nothing, and he understood her hesitation. You are keeping something back, he said. You are hiding something. Maybe. I am going to tell you another time, when I know you better, when I trust you completely. Colin thought about this and nodded slowly, accepting her answer with grace. All right, but you must come back. You must come back tomorrow. Yes, said Mary. I am going to come back, I promise you. They talked for almost an hour about India and England, about books they had read, and the house and the locked rooms. Colin talked much more than Mary. He had been silent for years, isolated in his room. He asked many questions and listened to every answer carefully. Mary stood to leave. The fire had died to glowing coals. Her candle was burning very low. Come tomorrow, Colin said. It was a command, not a request, a test of whether she would keep her promise.